Animal 3.
Hello everybody, you just heard a cover song by Michael Burnswag, formerly known as Tent City Piano Man, and welcome to the 54th episode of the Kevin Storm Show. Today we'd like to wish a very happy birthday to Barry Friedman from 11th Hour for Animals.
Hello everybody, this is Sue. We have a few announcements to make. At 12 o'clock today until 2 p.m. there's a protest at the Puppy Stop. It's a peaceful demonstration in Turnersville, New Jersey, and you should see Mercedes Allen there. Tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. there's an onshore volunteer training at Dunwell Donuts in Brooklyn, and you should see Dana there and George Dix. On Saturday at 3:30 in the afternoon, there's a Cole Brothers Circus protest in Charleston, South Carolina, at the Exchange Park in Ladson, South Carolina. You can look for Patty McBride there. We would like to welcome and show appreciation to a new fan in Tokyo, Japan, Tominaga Mizumachi. I hope I pronounced that right. Kevin didn't even want to try it, but we're really glad to have you on board. We would also like to send out a special hello to Jan Smitowitz. I really hope that I said that right. Wasn't quite sure, and we're really glad to have you. And Jan is in Downey, California, or at least that's hometown. I'm not sure where you're at right now. We'd like to stay in touch. Hopefully we'll find a spot for you on the show soon. There's an event in Newark, New Jersey at 165 Mulberry Street, the Prudential Center. Fawn versus Ringling. That's F-A-U-N versus Ringling. Animal Circus Be Gone demonstration at the Prudential in Newark. And one last thing, whether you're on Facebook or not, we have a couple of fundraisers online. If you go to fundanything.com and just search for Kevin Storm, you will see all three of them. Thank you very much. Enjoy the show.
I'd also like to tell you guys about this new app I found called Is It Vegan? What you do is, for smartphones, what you do is you highlight a barcode after you go into a certain section of the app, and once it locks onto what the barcode is, it'll tell you if there's vegan or vegetarian ingredients in it, and it'll tell you how close it is to being vegan or vegetarian. So I'd like you all to check it out. Everybody, to the 54th episode of the Kevin Storm Show. Today we have a pre-recorded interview with Ken Smith from the Toms River Seventh-day Adventist Church and Michael Burnswag, formerly known as the Tent City Piano Man. Enjoy the show. So, how long have you been vegan?
About a year and a half now.
Okay, how did you become vegan?
Well, part of it was that I know it's a healthier lifestyle, and that my church is very health conscious and very holistic in a sense of body, mind, spirit, and we believe that what you put into your body is going to affect your ability to communicate with God and to have an overall effect on your life.
Okay, so what does the Bible say about man's responsibility to the earth?
Well, it says in the Bible that God gave man dominion over the earth, but he was to tend to it, and that he's responsible for it. But because when sin came to the world, men started to abuse it and degrade it. And it says later on in Revelation that God will destroy those which are destroying the earth, meaning that there's going to be accountability for people for their what they've done to the planet.
What is the Adventist health message?
Well, I know I covered a lot of that now before, but the thing is that we believe that the soul, the mind, is tied to the body. It's not like your soul's out somewhere else. And that by putting things into your body that are good for your body and not putting things that are bad for your body into it, you're going to be able to have a spiritual growth and knowledge that we're going to be able to live a good life. As a matter of fact, Adventists themselves, in studies that they've done in the JMA, they have found that they tend to live an average of 10 years longer than the average population.
How did you find the Seventh-day Adventist Church?
Excuse me?
How did you find Seventh-day Adventist Church?
Oh, I was given a mailer in the mail back when I was 20 years old, and it was about prophecy, biblical prophecy, and which I found rather interesting because I had been listening to L. Ron Hubbard, and at that time they had not L. Ron Hubbard, excuse me, Herbert W. Armstrong from Worldwide Church of God, and I was listening also to. I had read the book The Late Great Planet Earth by Hal Lindsey, so I knew something was happening in their planet. You could see in the 70s things really starting to go downhill. So I went to this seminar, and it just opened up the books of Daniel and Revelation and the Bible to me that really gave me a whole new perspective on things that opened up my mind to what the Bible says is going to happen in the end times.
How do Seventh-day Adventists view the Bible?
Well, we consider it God's word. It's a living word. It's inspired by God, and it was given to the prophets of old for our benefit. And sometimes people take God's word very lightly, but we realize that it's a living document. It tells us that what happened in the past, what's going to happen in the future, and how things are going to turn out.
What do Seventh-day Adventist people believe?
Well, for the most part, we believe that in the name itself, Seventh-day Adventists, we go to church on Saturday. We believe in keeping God's 10 Commandments, in the sense that if we love God, we're going to keep His commandments, and that in keeping them, we're not expecting to be saved by the keeping commandments, but by our relationship with Jesus Christ. That's a primary thing. Second, the Adventist means the second coming of Christ, that we believe in a literal coming of Christ. Also, we believe that when a person dies, that they go to sleep to await the resurrection. We don't believe that in a mortal soul, that when you die, you're already going to heaven. Once again, as we discussed, we believe in keeping a healthy lifestyle and to help others. We have probably one of the most extensive health systems apart from the Catholic Church. We have over 171 different hospitals throughout the world, and we believe in that. We believe that we need to be saved by the grace of God. It's through we're saved by faith and grace of God.
What happens when you eat meat?
What happens when you eat meat? Well, I like to tell the story that if you were to take a piece of meat and put it on a counter, and for 72 hours, I asked people, would you eat that? And they said, oh, no, it's terrible. Well, people don't realize that when you eat meat, that's how long sometimes it takes for that meat to pass through your system. And that also today's meats, particularly, with all the pollutants and the husbandry of the way they raise the animals, and all the antibiotics and hormones that they're putting into the meat, we believe it's sickening to people, and it's not only that, it's abusive to the animals as well. The way they raise them in the pens, and some of the animals they don't leave the same pen from when the day they're born to the day they die, and it's a real travesty.
What do you eat mostly?
Food. No, but I don't know. I know that came from left field, but I nuts. I try to eat things in a natural state. We're told in the Spirit of Prophecy that to eat things as they come from the tree if you can, but to eat them I try to eat also non-GMO foods, things that are organic, and I try to eat. Sometimes I'll have tofu and I'll have prepared vegetarian meats and stuff like that. But I'm a diabetic too, so I try to eat whole grains. Try to stay away from processed foods. Like white bread. I don't eat any white bread. I always try to eat like Ezekiel 4:9 bread or that real. And then stay away from a lot of pastas and rices and stuff like that. Try to drink a lot of water and try to also incorporate exercise into our lifestyle. It's very important.
How hard is it to find some place to go eat, like when you go out with friends or family?
Around here, there's a few places, but for the most part, it's rather difficult because they're far and few between. There's a couple places around here. There's one place I go to is Kayla's up in Belmar, Kayla's Kitchen, and Kaya's, excuse me, Kaya's. And Kaya's Kitchen's good, and I like. There's a little restaurant over in Point Pleasant, and the place on Route 9, the Via Roma and stuff like that. But for the most part, it's very hard to get vegan food anywhere around here.
So if you have to go to a regular diner with someone and you're meeting them and that's their choice of spot, what would you get just as a fallback? Is there something easy that you could order, you could tell someone to do if they go out with like a family birthday party and you're the only one? So you read the menu and you don't see anything.
Yeah, I had that problem. We went to I had a party Christmas at Charlie Brown's, and they had the salad bar and everything. I eat a lot of salad, but the thing is that a lot of it has prepared. They put butter on it, or they put mayonnaise, or they put something like that in, and so I have to be very careful with that too. But a lot of places I think are starting to diversify the menu towards vegans. They may have a limited number of things on it, but they do have something. A lot of places are willing to accommodate, so it's not so bad.
If you can find a silver diner, they have a corporate rule now where they have to have vegan entrees on there, and they're really good.
What do Adventists mean when they talk of prophecy?
Well, prophecy is God's hand in the world, and it's not about history, it's about his story, Christ in history. And like, for instance, in the Bible, in the book of Daniel, for instance, there's an actual timeline that starts with the rebuilding of Jerusalem, the wall and the street. And from that point on, they show exactly when Jesus was going to come and start his ministry, when the gospel was going to go to the Gentiles, and when he'd be cut off in the midst of the week. And I like talking to the Jewish people sometimes about this, because when you look at the Passover, it says that that the lamb of Passover would be killed at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Nisan 14. So when you look at when Jesus came and died, he died on Nisan 14 at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on the very same year that the Bible prophesied that he would come and die. And I think that's amazing. That's the chances of that as a phenomenal. And that's just only scratching the surface. I mean, there's a lot more prophecies than that.
Yeah, Kevin had an uninteresting story about a lamb. Can you
Really uninteresting?
go ahead?
I find it very interesting.
Why?
Well, it's not uninteresting.
Go ahead.
It was Easter, and I was eating dinner with my dad and my grandma, and they put a lamb on the table and ate it right in front of me, and it was really nasty, and my grandma dipped it in applesauce, and I almost threw up on my plate.
But why did she say it was okay to eat that?
Because it was Easter.
No, why would you eat a lamb on Easter? Can you explain why people think that that's acceptable?
Well, the thing is, once it goes back to the Jewish tradition of the Passover lamb. That when the lamb in the Old Testament represents Christ's sacrifice, and the thing is that but the thing is that in later days, as like I said before, as the food broke down and it became horrible to eat these things because of the way the meat's going. A lot of people have even now they serve ham at Easter and stuff like that, which is even worse. You know, as Adventists too, we try to eat clean foods. Not if there are meat eaters in Adventism, but the thing is that we try to eat the clean foods as opposed to the unclean foods, which is like, you know, the clams, the shellfish are unclean, the pork, horses, you know, rabbit. And some cultures they eat all kinds of things, but it affects your overall health. And there's been scientific studies to show that that's the case. That eating unclean foods is very bad for you. That they built up toxins within their biology. And the same thing now with our own food, like the mad cow disease is a good example of this. Is where they were feeding cow back to the cows, and that as they was reintroducing the diseases into the cows, and suddenly mad cow disease came up. So this is why they talk about it in the end times. Like fish, for instance, the mercury that builds up within the fish system now because of all the pollutants. So this is all the more reason why, you know, we're told not to eat meat now these days.
How has being vegan affected your health? Would you say
Oh,
it's better?
tremendously. I was very sick. I was about 100 pounds heavier than I am now. And I had diabetes, I had glaucoma, prostatitis, arthritis, joint pain, whole host of things. And once I started becoming vegan and eating less and watching my weight and all these things basically went away.
How long did it take?
It was rather rapid. Once I lost the weight and everything, it went away. You know, it took me about 6 months to actually lose the weight. But once I lost the weight, then that's when the changes came. You know, that's the beauty of it. You know, of a vegan diet is that. Now the thing I got to watch out for is that I don't. I have like a lot of nuts, so that's one thing I have to watch out for is that, you know, eating a lot of nuts because there's a lot of fat in that. Yeah.
Could you possibly give a Bible reference that would support a vegan diet?
Yeah.
I can cut
Okay.
it.
Yeah. Did it? Okay. It says here that in Genesis 1:11. He says, and God said, let the earth bring forth grass and herb yielding seed, and a fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind, whose seed in itself upon the earth, and it was. And the earth brought forth grass and herb yielding seed after his kind, and a tree yielding fruit, whose seed was in itself after his kind. And God saw that it was good. As we see, this was the diet of the Genesis, that we were to eat these things.
Actually, I think you should follow up with 129 there,
Okay.
Ken.
Thank you.
Do you want to introduce?
Oh, yeah, we have our returning guest, Michael Baronsweig, and he is going to either answer or ask a couple of questions.
Yeah, I just mentioned to Ken.
Yes,
You read Genesis
I
1:11.
corrected because
Right.
this was the verse that I was
No, but
really
actually, what you read was very good as an introduction.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the powerful follow-up. You know, this is the finale of what you just read. So it's good.
And God said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed which is upon the face of the earth, and every tree in which is the fruit of the tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat.
That's excellent. Meat, by the way, is at the time it was written in 1611, King James Version. Meat in Skeet's etymological dictionary is any solid food which is not liquid. So it doesn't mean decaying, you know, flesh from an animal.
Like when they say mincemeat is fruit, right?
Yeah, well, nut meats.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, nut meats. You know, so you know it doesn't have to be a dead animal for it to be meat. So you know, I was speaking with the mayor of Lakewood, and I asked him about that verse in the Bible, and he said to me, and he looked at me kind of quizzically, and I said to him, well, is God telling us to eat hamburger? Is God telling us to eat chicken? Is God telling us to eat pork, lamb, eggs, you know, cheese? No, God is telling us to eat what grows from the earth. That's what our food should be. And he said to me, the mayor of Lakewood, God doesn't change his mind. which was a very, accurate observation and astute observation, and God doesn't change his mind. That was our original diet.
Okay.
But also in the book of Daniel too, it talks about when Daniel was brought to Babylon, um, they were supposed to eat and drink the wine from the king's table, and what happens is that
I'm sorry, King, you left out the meat. You said you were just supposed to eat and drink the wine from the king's table.
I mean, the
Yeah,
meat
the
and wine,
meat and the
yeah.
delicacies in
Right,
the wine,
right,
but
right.
meat is a very important
Yeah.
thing to include.
Okay, and so what happens is that Daniel risks his own life to go before the king to tell him that we will eat only pulse, which is basically fruits and vegetables.
In other words, we want to be vegan,
And what you're right.
which is what they were.
Well, now
yeah.
pulses are like legumes, peas, things like that. That's what they consider pulses.
Okay.
Well, actually, if you look in the dictionary, pulses can be grains and
Okay.
and legumes and all the like, but it spans a pretty wide array of food.
Okay.
What's interesting is that after only 10 days, after the end of 10 days, their countenance appeared fairer and fatter in flesh, and all the children which did eat the portion, than those that ate the portion of the king's meat. So,
But they were starving, right?
I guess so. I don't know if they were. What it is that
That was a very rich court.
Yeah.
They were not starving. That was Nebuchadnezzar. That was a very, very wealthy king, and he ate and he had tons of all the most elaborate foods of the day in his court. That was the whole point. You can live high on the hog, Daniel. We like you. You can live and eat our food. All the meat and the wine and all the delicacies. And Daniel said, no, give me God's original diet.
it also says, I think it's in Corinthians, it says that we should eat and drink to the glory of Christ, to the glory of God. And if we love God, we're going to keep our bodies fit and healthy, and we're going to avoid those things which aren't good for us.
What did they eat on Noah's Ark?
Well, the thing was with Noah's Ark, they had, if you notice, they brought 2 by 2 of every animal, but they brought 7 of the clean animals because of what was because everything on the earth had been destroyed and the lack of resources that they had available. They had to eat, unfortunately, they had to eat the clean animals,
When did the domestication of animals start biblically, like to the extreme, like where they're not eating tigers and lions and giraffes, they're eating cows and chickens, but was there chickens back then?
Yeah, and they had chickens, but in the book of Genesis, we're told that you had Cain and Abel. Cain was the one that raised the fruits, and Abel was the one that raised the lambs. But the thing is that when Cain brought his sacrifice to God, this is the interesting. We're talking about biblical prophecy. What happened was the reason God had told Abel to bring a lamb before God was because the lamb represents the death of Christ. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is that Cain's sacrifice wasn't accepted because Cain did not want to follow God's instruction and have to go to his brother and ask him for the lamb. So he decided to bring his own fruits and vegetables. It's not that the sacrifice there was not about eating. It was the symbology of what the lamb represented for the coming of Christ.
Okay. Go ahead. What? I can cut that out. Your
You should, because I
I'm
have no
going to.
questions.
Okay.
I'm out. Oops.
Well, how about a few more minutes? Is there something else that we could add that, like, as far as your personal history, like what you were like before you came here? You want?
I was a jerk. Quite honestly, I was living for I was selfish. I was like living for myself, but I was also, I had problems gambling. I had and a lot of different things going on, addictions and so forth. And when I finally submitted to God and gave my heart to God, that it just changed me around 180 degrees. People will tell you, people they'll say, "Wow, Kane, what happened to you?" And I have hope now. Before I was just like deterministic and depressed all the time and sad, and there was no hope, you know. But now that's the thing I like to say is that, you know, God provides hope, you know, and by believing in God, it's given me, even though things in this world are going down, I know that I know I'm going up. You know what I'm saying?
I need you to ask the question so I can put it back before the answer.
I have a question, Caesar.
Wait a minute. Just
Okay, what were you, what were you like before you found the church or veganism?
I just want to be able to cut that easier. Go ahead.
Okay, Ken, you mentioned that Seventh-day Adventists have the most elaborate hospital.
Well, not elaborate. I mean, they have extensive.
Most
They have an
numbers.
yeah, they have. No, I'm just saying a second church hospital from the Catholic Church. Catholic Church is
Is
the
that
largest.
171?
171 around the world.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Like Loma
are
Linda.
those hospitals vegan?
Yes, for the most part. Yeah, they're
Really?
yeah the restaurants serve vegan in the
Ooh,
restaurant.
that's
Yeah.
Where are they at?
Yeah.
Well, you got Loma Linda out in California. You have, I think, Weimer Institute is another one. I can't think of a lot of Kettering Memorial Hospital out in Ohio, I believe.
Any in this area, in New York, in New Jersey?
Well, there's one in Hackettstown. Yeah, up in Hackettstown. There's one up there, and but we were the first ones to start sanitariums. You know, people like C.W. Post. You ever hear Post Cyril? You know, he was an Adventist. Kellogg.
Dr. Kellogg,
Dr.
yeah.
Kellogg, yeah. You know, some of these were people that were instrumental in putting these hospitals together. And Battle Creek Sanitarium, they used to call them sanitarium. Now it's sanitariums associated with mental institutions, but back then it was a place where you could go and they would focus on your lifestyle and help you, you know, develop holistically. And what I mean by holistic, I mean WHOLE, not no holistic, because there's a difference with that. But the thing is that they were cutting edge in their day, and everyone today seemed to follow suit. You know.
Dr. Kellogg's history is very interesting to look.
You have our apologies for having to cut the show a little bit short today. This was pre-recorded, so it is available on the YouTube channel for the Kevin Storm Show. And we hope you enjoyed it, and we hope you enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Here is a song written and performed by Ken Smith.
I was chosen from the foundation of the world. He knew me before I was born. To be in the kingdom of heaven. He knew my face. I'm a child of God. A child of grace. And I know I am nothing that's worthy. Though I have nothing to give, I can only offer up the sacrifice, the life that I live. I'm